Welcome to PBCJ's live coverage of the lower house. I am Simone Absalom. The session will start with prayers followed by a roll call of those in attendance. This is usually followed by questions and answers to questions, statements by ministers, items on the public business, and private members' motions. But before we begin, let's try a Parliament trivia. The Most Honourable Sir Howard Cook was Jamaica's 5th Governor-General. Is this fact or fiction? Stick around for the answer at the end of this introduction. The answer will also be posted on our Facebook page. On the agenda in this session, under statements by ministers, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is down to speak on the acquisition of Petrojam shares. The government is to retake 49% stake held by Venezuela in Jamaica's state-owned oil refinery, Petrojam. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, said the government plans to enact special legislation to sanction the move. PDV Caribe, an affiliate of the state-owned Petroleas de Venezuela S.A., and the Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica, PCJ, entered into a joint venture agreement which resulted in the sale of Petrojam shares in August 2006 and February 2007, respectively. Now, the reason for entering into the agreements included the upgrading and expansion of the refinery to improve its competitiveness and meet local and international market demands. Johnson-Smith said these objectives have not been met and that this poses a risk to the economy. Senator Johnson-Smith said 2 offers were made between December and this month. One to purchase the shares of Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica and the other to buy PDV Caribe's shares. The offer made by the company was not accepted by government due to questions about the authenticity of the offer. During the questions and answers to questions segment, the Prime Minister is to answer questions number 32 and number 34. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie is to answer question number 30. It should be noted that the agenda can be adjusted with items being added, removed, or replaced. If you are planning to attend a session at Gordon House, here are some rules you need to keep in mind. No visitor shall create any act of disorder within the precincts of the House. No visitor shall be admitted to the House without first obtaining an admission card. Visitors who remain within the precincts of the House during a suspension of the session are asked to keep silent. It's about time to go over to the proceeding, but first the answer to our Parliament trivia. We asked, the Most Honourable Sir Howard Cook was Jamaica's 5th Governor-General. Is this fact or fiction? It's a fact. The Most Honourable Sir Howard Cook was Jamaica's 5th Governor-General. And that's according to the Jamaica National Heritage Trust website at www.jnht.com. Now over to the proceedings.
Dr. Ferguson, Mr. Golding, Dr. Guy, Ms. Hannah, Mr. Hales, Mrs. Holness, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Mackenzie, Mr. Kellier, Dr. McNeil, Ms. Nita, Mr. Paulwell, Mr. Michael Phillips, Dr. Phillips, Mr. Pickersgill, Mr. Redmond, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Stewart, Reverend Thwaites, Mr. Dwayne Vaz, Dr. Wheatley, Mr. Wright.
Statements by ministers. Announcements.
Laid on the table of the House today are the following. Annual reports of the National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica, Exim Bank, for the years 2014-15 to 2017-18. Annual report of the Land Administration and Management Program, LAMP, for the year 2012-2013. Certified appropriation accounts. Registrar General's Department 2012 to 2013.
Bills brought from the Senate. Petitions. Papers. Reports from committees.
This was.
Notices of motions given orally. Questions and answers to questions.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Minister. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, the member is answering question from the member from Southwest St. Andrew, who is not in the chamber just now. I wonder if
Mr. Paul, get your mic in.
Would yield. I'm just asking the member to yield until the member arrives.
Hold on.
Half an hour.
No, I don't understand that. You're asking him to yield?
She's on her way.
Well, then that's not the proper way.
Huh?
You'll have to seek a suspension of the standing orders. He can't get up to speak after I move from that item. Minister, you either deliver the message now or at a later stage to seek permission for the standing orders.
No, she wants to do some follow-up questions.
Mr. Speaker, if the member seeking answers to questions is not present, the minister can lay those questions. And if the member has any further clarification, they can follow up on that some other time. That's the rule. You know that.
Mr. Speaker, these questions have been overdue. And because of that, it is normal that the person who asks the question be given some leverage. And therefore, I'm asking, because she's on her way, if the minister could just give her 30 minutes to get here.
I think that the House will have to take that decision. We have a note from Mrs. Brownberg that she will not be in Parliament today. And when the minister's questions are to be answered and they don't, we have a problem. When they're ready to answer, we don't want to have a problem.
Mr. Speaker, I'm prepared to table the questions, the response to the questions. That is in my name. And the response.
Minister, let me have a copy of the question and the answer.
It is there, sir. It is there, sir.
Mr. Speaker, I am wondering if in the interest of Parliament, the Leader of Opposition Business could not seek permission to ask a member to ask the questions in the name of the member from Southwest St. Andrew.
Mr. Speaker, it is my understanding that the member indeed will be here this afternoon. That is my latest information, and I'm therefore urging that if the minister could just wait 30 minutes to allow her to get here.
Minister, the member is not here, and you have been asked to delay answering the question until another session. I have no objection if this leader...
Mr. Speaker, I have good reason to feel that in the circumstances the minister will be inclined to facilitate the member who is not here in order that the process can continue as anticipated.
Motions relating to the sitting of the House.
Issue of questions and answers to questions. The agenda of Parliament indicated that the Prime Minister would answer some questions that are outstanding in my name. Can I get an indication as to whether those questions are going to be answered today?
Mr. Speaker, those questions won't be answered today, although it was intended that that will be the case. I can assure you that they will be answered next week, along with other very important matters that will be taken next week. Well, the one thing I've learned in government is that it's constantly in a state of flux. Things move. Things change. More important issues develop and have to be attended to. And the person who always has to attend to certain issues is the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
Motions.
Mr. Speaker. I beg to give notice that at the expiration of 21 days, I'd ask the Prime Minister to answer the question standing in my name. The following questions. Thank you, Member.
Ms. Hannah, you have discussed this matter with me. There are two questions. You have to put them.
Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I'd like to give notice that at the expiration of 21 days, I would like to ask the Prime Minister to answer the two questions, or the following questions, standing in my name. Is that better, sir?
No problem. Motions for leave to introduce bills. Presentation of bills without leave of the House first obtained. Members, before we get into public business, I wish to recognize members in the gallery from schools, students and teachers. First, from Olympus Academy, 25 students and 5 teachers. And from the Mona School of Dentistry, 12 students. Please welcome them. Public business. Mr. Semuda.
Well, Mr. Speaker, The Minister of Finance will take today the second supplementary estimates. But in order to do so, we will have to adjourn the House to consider the report from the PAAC. Unfortunately, the PAAC met today and have not yet finalized the report. We are expecting it momentarily, so I seek your permission to proceed with the rest of the agenda today.
Yes, go ahead.
So, Mr. Speaker, if the House is so minded, I would invite you to ask the Minister of Mining and Transport to take the item standing at number 7 and seek Parliament's approval of that matter.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Act to give effect to the provisions of the International Convention for the Control and Management of Ship, Ballast Water and Sediments 2004 went to the Senate, had certain amendments, and I am now asking and moving that the House accept the amendments from the Senate.
Those in favor? Those against? As of it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, last week, the Minister of Industry, Agriculture and Fisheries started the debate on the Food Storage and Prevention of Infestation Amendment Act 2018. We suspended the sitting to facilitate the opposition spokesman on agriculture to make his contribution. The minister is not here, but notwithstanding that, I think that the member from Eastern St. Thomas and opposition spokesman agriculture could nonetheless proceed. Really, member, the fact of the matter is it was agreed that you would respond today.
Dr. Ferguson.
Important to an act as it is, but I have not seen what the minister said. The minister is not here, so I don't see what would be the difficulty in making available a copy of his presentation, and we have that response next week.
Mr. Speaker, if I recall, turn the mic off, last week the House was advised that the opposition spokesman had no difficulty in supporting the measure. The acting House leader then asked for the debate to be deferred, to be closed this week. He asked the acting leader of the opposition business last week asked for it to be deferred to this week. No, just for this week, because you, Mr. Bunting, prompted Mr. Golding to ask for. No, the member from Central Manchester prompted the member from Southern St. Andrew to request a postponement of the closure of the debate until this week to facilitate Mr. Ferg, the member from Eastern St. Thomas. So it's obviously, just to close, so it's obviously there's no communication across there, because the member made copies available last week. The minister made available copies of his presentation last week. And your two colleagues, the one to your left and the one to your right here, they were the one who asked you to be suspended this week. You need to talk to them.
Mr. Speaker, there is absolutely no requirement for a minister in taking a bill or making a presentation on an amendment to a bill to give his opposition counterpart a copy of what he's going to say. What is important, having had the matter lay on the table of the House, is for the opposition spokesman to apprise himself of exactly the contents and what is involved in the amendment, and then to make his own independent contribution to the debate. So, member, I appeal to you, knowing your vast experience and your natural inclination to cooperate, I am asking you to proceed, and then the minister will respond appropriately when he arrives. That's what is my request of you. Mr. Speaker, I unfortunately must now seek permission for the House to be suspended for 30 minutes to enable us not only to gather the report so that the member from Western Westmoreland can present it, and the Minister of Finance, who has been here early, can proceed to deal with the second supplementary estimates.
Those in favor of the resolution? Those against? As have it. This House is suspended for 30 minutes.
And the innocence you cherish wouldn't last. That day, you made up your mind that no matter how things change, you would always take the time to give them parental guidance. That day is today.
Remember, parental controls are available for all devices. A reminder from the Broadcasting Commission.